Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's a national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
The debate on the local government elections draft bill to be held on the 17th of this month. Power cuts are over. Yoshitha Rajapaksa and his grandmother have been indicted. The CID investigates the way how Namal Rajapaksa sat for the law college exam. ADB reaffirms its commitment to Sri Lanka with $900 million investment for 2025. Dr. Harsha De Silva is deprived of Colombo District SJB leadership. Paddy stockholders can be registered under the Paddy Marketing Board until the 15th of March. The national television is ready to celebrate its 43rd anniversary, and all-night Pirit chanting will be held today for the blessings of the country. Ukraine president dictates a term on having peace talks with Russia. National Sports Council appointed. Sri Lanka claimed the ODI series victory against Australia. Taking a look at your local news now, the Supreme Court has informed that since the local government elections special provisions bill as a whole or any of its provisions of the bill are not inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution.
It can be passed by majority of votes in the Parliament. Speaker Dr. Jagath Wickramaratne informed this to the Parliament today, presenting the Supreme Court's decision over the relevant draft bill.
I wish to announce that I have received the determination of the Supreme Court on the bill titled Local Authorities Elections Special Provisions, challenged in the Supreme Court under the Article 1211 of the Constitution, which had been heard before a bench of 3 judges. Accordingly, 2 judges constituting the majority of the bench had held that the bill read as a whole and in particularly clause 2 and 3 is inconsistent with Article 12(1) of the Constitution and can be only passed with the special majority required under the paragraph 2 of Article 84. The remaining judge of the bench had held that the bill as a whole or any provision thereof is not inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution and may be enacted with a simple majority of Parliament. I order that the full determination of the Supreme Court.
Meanwhile, at a media briefing held in Colombo today, Minister Dr. A.H.M.H. Aberatna says that the Parliament debate relevant to the local government election will be held on the 17th of this month, and then the Election Commission will have the responsibility of announcing the dates for the election. Minister Dr. A.H.M.H. Aberatna said that the Local Authorities Council election was scheduled to be held in March 2023. Since then, the government has not given necessary provisions to hold the elections. It was delayed. He said that many parties, including the National People's Power, petitioned in the Supreme Court against not holding the elections. The Supreme Court decided it as a violation of fundamental rights of the people and ordered the Election Commission to hold the elections soon. He added that since the presidential and parliamentary elections held in close intervals last year, it was difficult to hold the local government elections. Then it was asked for new nominations to be added instead of the nominations taken in 2023. He also said that the opportunity has arrived and the relevant matter will be discussed in a Parliament debate on the 17th of this month. After that, the Act will be passed in Parliament and the Elections Commission will be informed regarding the decision. He further said that thereby the Election Commission will have the power to announce the dates of the election. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, Vu Thanh Son, stated that Vietnam is committed to further enhancing the existing cooperation and friendship between Sri Lanka and Vietnam.
He also expressed Vietnam's readiness to share its experiences in supporting Sri Lanka's economic growth goals. The statement was made during a meeting between President Anurukumara Dissanayake and Deputy Prime Minister Buithan San at the World Government Summit 2025 held in the United Arab Emirates recently. Discussions were held to further develop the political trust, long-standing friendship and cooperation that have been built over the past 55 years between Vietnam and Sri Lanka. President Anurukumara Dissanayake emphasized that there is ample opportunity for both countries to enhance their long-term economic cooperation. He also invited Vietnamese investors to consider investing in sectors such as agriculture, education, religion, culture, tourism and air services in Sri Lanka. The Asian Development Bank yesterday reinforced its commitment to Sri Lanka's economic recovery, outlining an ambitious $900 million investment pipeline for 2025. Outlining ADB's 2024 portfolio performance in Sri Lanka and plans for 2025, Country Director Takafumi Kodono highlighted the bank's alignment with the country's development agenda and the broader IMF-backed reform framework. ADB Country Operations Head Sholpon Mambetova detailed the bank's strategic focus and said an indicative $900 million investment is on pipeline for this year, where ADB's priorities include macroeconomic stability, power, agriculture, finance, tourism and skills development under modalities of policy-based loans, result-based lending, investment projects and technical assistance projects. She said sovereign lending active portfolio as of 1st January 2025 accounted for $4 billion across 27 projects involving 36 loans, 4 grants targeting with a strong emphasis on energy, transport, human development, finance, agriculture, urban development and governance. Now, the modalities of these projects will include policy-based lending, result-based financing and investment projects, and areas of intervention will encompass financial sector stability, governance reforms, tourism, skills development, financial sector, power system strengthening, renewable energy and sustainable infrastructure.
The Ministry of Power announced that there will be no power cuts from today as power generated by one unit of the Noruchole Lakvijaya power plant has been added to the national grid. According to the announcement, the power cut which prevailed so far will be over now and the remaining 2 generators will be restored in the coming few days. The ministry in its announcement regrets the inconvenience caused to the consumer public due to the curtailment of power.
The Attorney General filed indictments against Yoshitha Rajapaksa and his grandmother Daisy Forrest under the Money Laundering Act. They have been accused of failing to declare how they earned lands and property worth over 80 million rupees during the period of 2012 to 2015. The Attorney General filed indictments under the charge of failing to reveal how they earned such a huge sum of money. Yoshitha Rajapaksa, who was arrested recently in this connection, was released on bail recently by the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court.
Police Media Division says that an investigation has been initiated into allegations that MP Namal Rajapaksa sat for the Sri Lanka Law College examination in an unlawful manner. The police, in a statement issued, states that the Director of the Criminal Investigation Department has been instructed by the acting IGP to conduct a complete investigation in this respect. The complaint was filed by an organisation named the Puravesi Balaya against bribery, corruption and waste, which claims that MP Rajapaksa unlawfully obtained his law degree with the assistance of 2 attorneys. This has been done in accordance with an interview carried by the Boston Lanka social media network. In response, the acting IGP has instructed the director of the CID to conduct a thorough investigation in accordance with the Code of Criminal Procedure Act, and accordingly the CID has initiated an investigation in this regard. District leaders of the Samagi Janabalavegya were appointed today. Parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva told the media today that although he expected the Colombo district leadership, he was not appointed to that post. Journalists asked Parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva to provide his views on the appointment of district leaders of SJB, and they inquired that as to why he did not receive that post. MP Dr. Harsha De Silva said that he actively joined party activities as the leading figure in the Colombo district, and he will continue his activities despite he had not been appointed as a district leader.
Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Manjula Pinnalanda, informs that the purchasers of paddy stocks will have to register themselves with the Paddy Marketing Board. Now, he further says that the period which commenced from the 1st of February will be valid till the 15th of March for this purpose. Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Manjula Pinnalanda, observed that according to the Act of the PMB and the Gazette notification issued in 2010, the registration of paddy mills have been commenced. Under this Act, all paddy mill owners, whether small, medium or large scale, will have to get themselves registered, and applications in this regard are available with the Gazette notification of 2016. Apart from that, applications are also available with the regional offices of the board. A time frame has been given until the 15th of March as an extension for the registration with the Paddy Marketing Board. The 43rd anniversary of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation will be celebrated tomorrow.
Several special programs will also be conducted on this occasion. An all-night Pirit chanting in order to invoke blessings on the corporation and the staff and the entire country is also being held. The corporation premises has been prepared for the Pirit chanting along with an attractive Pirit mandapa created by the set department of the corporation. Senior set designer Kokila Vijay Sundara is the brainchild behind this year's Pirit mandapa preparation. Senior set designer Kokila Vijay Sundara said that efforts have been taken to create the Bodhi Prakarya and the Bodhi in an innovative manner. This has been done by the set department and the Buddhist Association of SLRC along with all the sections of the staff who have contributed in this endeavour. Well, today is a very special day for Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. It has been 43 years since the inception of the national channel of Sri Lanka, and we are honoured to have with us a veteran announcer and a producer who has been around for 20 years at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. Welcome to the studios, Ajita Kadirkama.
Thank you both, and happy anniversary.
Thank you so much.
It brings back all kinds of emotions to be here. So if I can quickly tell you, I joined Rupavahini in August of 1982. So that's just 6 months after we began. I had done a brief stint with Swiss TV because I was living there. And so when I came and met Chairman M.J. Pereira, he was interested when he heard that I had even a little bit of experience, and he said, well, would you like to join us? I thought it might have been just a training program or just a short job, because I was here on a holiday, came with one suitcase and stayed for 20 years. So basically, that's one of my stories I like to tell.
How does it feel to be back inside the studios after a very long time?
Yeah, so I can say that I was involved for 20 years as a permanent staff member and then as a freelancer. You know, some things don't change. The studio, I mean, technology changes, right? But the basic concepts, I think, of production, presentation, news reading, interviewing, those kind of remain the same. And so, yeah, it feels, this studio is very familiar to me because I was the co-founder, presenter and producer of Business Matters in 1992. And that's probably what people remember me most for. I wasn't a newsreader, by the way, but you know, people have memories. And so yeah, we would sit here, somewhere here, my colleague Shamini Singh and I. We didn't have all this fancy technology, and we certainly didn't have a teleprompter. We didn't have earpieces, we didn't have any of that. But we just did what we had to do. And yeah, it's a strange feeling, but it does bring back memories.
Absolutely. And speaking of memories, I'm sure you wanted to put it in a book as well and publish it. And this is called How Rupavahini's Founding Generation Shaped Television in Sri Lanka. It would be great if you could have a closer look at this as well. So it's pretty huge. The book is huge and heavy, and I'm sure that this has a lot of stories to tell. If you could just tell us, highlight some of what's entitled.
Yes, it does, Sharifa. So in 2021, in anticipation of the 40th anniversary in 2022, I thought I should put this down because, you know, for one thing, the founding generation, we're getting old. Sadly, a lot of people have passed away, and when you pass away, your memories pass away too. And I was feeling very nostalgic, and I thought, okay, I'll take a year to do it, to do the research. The feedback was tremendous because a lot of the pioneers are now in different parts of the world, but and mind you, this was the tail end of COVID, and you know, it was a terrible time, but the feedback was tremendous. And so based on all the stories I got from people, the book took shape, and it turned out into a rather large book. But basically in it I cover the history, and the history is important, of course, but interesting because I don't think even I and you, I mean you work at SLBC, I don't think we realize the connection between SLBC, ITN and Rupavahini. You know, SLBC sent people to ITN, ITN sort of incubated the whole thing, and then we came across the road literally to Rupavahini. So it was a journey of discovery for me too, because there was so much, though I'd been here, you know, I was too busy in the moment. So much of the history I didn't realize. So I've tried to put in as much history as possible. And the rest is, well, it's stories and memories from the people who were here.
Now, as a broadcaster, I would love to read this book, and I'm sure there are many broadcasters out there who would like to know the story of Rupavahini. Where does one buy this or purchase it from?
I hope this is not promotion, but anyway, it is available. MD Gunasenas did a great job in the printing, so it's available at all of their stores. My only, yeah, it is a little on the expensive side, because if you remember back in 2021, we were in the midst of an economic crisis, and so paper costs shot through the roof, printing became so expensive, which is one of the reasons I didn't have the budget or the funds to print it then. And it wasn't till May of last year, May 2024, that it finally came out. So I'm sorry it's on the expensive side, but if you can afford to get your hands on it, I think broadcasters will find, I hope for our people, our pioneers, that they found a little bit of themselves in it.
Yes.
You know, and I must say there's 30 pages of names, so every person mentioned in the book is there by reference, and I did that manually, so yeah, that was quite a job.
I can imagine. And you mentioned that you wanted to release this for the 40th anniversary of Sri Lanka Rupavahini, but it's 43 years now.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this is out, and I'm sure that all the media personals will find something really interesting, because as you did mention, back in the days there was no teleprompter, no earpiece, so I'm pretty sure it was a little difficult than this.
It was. And
it has evolved big time.
Absolutely. And I think you guys, your generation, are the lucky ones. You benefit from all the technology. We had to somehow, you know, just get through the day. And I was in the newsroom, so as a news reporter, producer, it was always a struggle. Not just going out and recording the news, but then finding machines to preview. And mind you, we were still analog. This is pre-digital, right? We could never find machines to preview. Editing was an issue. No matter how much you wanted to voice something, give your own commentary, you could never get, you know, everything was tough. Everything was, you were constantly chasing. But I think it made us, you know, what we are. And as pioneers, I think hats off, Rupavahini and the initial crew did an amazing job. And I'm very proud to have been part of that part of the story.
Thank you. And I'm sure everyone has an idea as to what this book entails, which is How Rupavahini's Founding Generation Shaped Television in Sri Lanka, and that is in English language, which is great. It could go international as well.
Well, it is English. Maybe one day we'll get around to translating it. That it would make sense. But talking about international, so there's nothing in this for me. It's certainly not the money. I put in a lot of time and effort. The only thing I get out of it is the satisfaction. And one thing I'm fairly proud of is that the U.S. Congress, the U.S. Library of Congress, just about a month ago, requested a copy so that it will be in the U.S. Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. And I'm proud of that for us and our people and our industry, because it means from an archival point of view and a historic point of view, there is a reference in the Library of Congress. So I think that was one of the best achievements.
It definitely brings us pride as well to say that we work for Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, where we know that this has gone to the other side of the globe as well. And finally, Ajita, if you may convey a message to the public on the 43rd anniversary of Rupavahini.
Yeah, wow. It's you know, as you get older, time becomes very. Sometimes it feels long, sometimes it doesn't. Stepping in here after so many years, so many things are so familiar. There are even some familiar faces I recognize. It's lovely when they come up and say hello. The building hasn't changed much. It's really the technology that has changed, I think, and in many ways for the better. I hope we always preserve our basic ethics, because Rupavahini has always had ethics. And I basically wish the new generation and both of you the very best, and always that you continue to uphold standards of journalism, because that, at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Thank you very much for sparing some time for us.
Thank you.
And wish you the very best with the success of the book as well. Thank you.
Happy anniversary again.
Thank you so much.
Now, today is a special day for most people in the world, and special mention has to be given to the youth. Valentine's Day is being celebrated every year on the 14th of February.
In order to lead a loving life, being in the prime of youth is one's life cannot be the only factor. A shining example in this respect is provided by a couple from Varakapitikanda in Gaul, HPD Francis, who is now in his 89th year, leading a loving life with his beloved wife, who is 85 years. They are leading a happy life with kindness and protection of children and grandchildren. Above all, they are in an excellent health condition too. This couple never forgets to observe 8 precepts on full moon Poya days, and they emphasize that if there is proper understanding, one can lead the entire life happily and peacefully.
Moving on, in more local news, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that Sri Lanka development targets and the history as well has been changed due to petty differences such as religion, race, class and caste. Now, the Premier made these remarks participating in a book launch yesterday. An English book written by Dileepa Vitarna under the title Negotiation Power and Constructing the Nation, Engineering in Sri Lanka has been translated into Sinhalese by Shyama Basnayaka under the title of Bargaining Power and Building the Nation. The Prime Minister participated in this book launch as the chief guest.
Minister Dr. Nalinda Jadhasa says that a new methodology to provide a unified treatment service at one hospital comprising various medical treatments will be started. It has been planned to start the new methodology with the Palakkale Provincial Ayurvedic Hospital as the centre. The minister made these observations after taking stock of the present situation of the Palakkale Ayurvedic Hospital recently. The hospital, comprising of all Ayurvedic treatment divisions, completes 40 years since its inception. It provides treatment to more than 500 patients on a daily basis. The minister inspected the outdoor patients unit, ward complex, the unit of medicine preparation, kitchen and the hospital premises. Well, that's it on Local Stories. We'll be back with news overseas.
Be mine forever is what I say. Sharing hot and spicy love every day. Happy Valentine's Day, Prima Kotumi. Stay safe and share.